Hello and welcome back to another PA tutorial, and I'm going to talk about a little feature of the automatic style section now called Bass Inversion. And there's a piece of music, I'm hopefully putting it up on the screen for you, called A Whiter Shade of Pale. I'm sure we all know it, classic organ piece. It is so important that the bass line is correct on this, because a whiter shade of pale without that bass line is not, in my opinion, a whiter shade of pale. It's written with this continuous descending bass line, which is, well, it's a key part of the piece. I've chosen Organ Ballad, and I've just taken one of the keyboard sets it gives me called Split Organ. And I could, first of all, I could use the automatic intro. And the automatic intro on this Organ Ballad, yes, it gives you a sense of it being white of shade of pale, but it's not exact. And nor is the chord sequence exact. So it's not like you can even play over the top. And even if you could, there's some melodic parts to the intro, an organ phrasing and some electric guitar phrasing, which would mean if you tried to play the official intro over the top, it all just becomes too much. But that said, that isn't a criticism, and if all you can manage is to use the automatic intro, then that's great. I genuinely don't have a problem with that. If you want to create something which is more authentic, then yes, it might involve a little bit more work and you might have to learn some new inversions of chords, but trust me, it's well worth it. I'm going to take the split off for a second. I'm just going to show you what I mean about this bass line on A Whiter Shade of Pale. It basically goes like this. Now, there is a little bit more phrasing to the bass than that, but I just played it as a held bass, just to show you it's that descending bass line that is such an integral part of this piece of music. Now, if we just use our auto chords in the normal way, obviously if we held C for the first bar, we're just going to get a bass line based on C, and then we change to A minor for the second bar, F for the third bar, D minor. We're not going to hear that descending bass line. So we need to use a feature called Bass Inversion. Now, because of these new buttons and sliders on the PA5X, it's much easier to go to, but you have exactly the same feature in the auto chord section on PA4X, PA700, PA1000. On the 5X, we go to the user option and make sure the view is on the buttons. And by default, we have bass inversion there. And what bass inversion does, it allows us to, first of all, play what we call slash chords. Many of you will have seen or played a piece of music and all of a sudden it will say C/G. It just means play a C chord on a G bass. Now, if you're using automatics normally, you probably just ignore that and play a C and it will sound okay. But obviously the composer of the piece intended it to be, for a specific reason, C on a G bass. So how do we do that? Well, if I play C in the normal inversion that most of us play, if I've got the bass inversion on, it now says C/G in the screen. Why does it say that? Because it takes the bass note from the lowest note of the chord that we play. So that would say, yeah, you're playing a C, but you want a bass note of G. If I want the traditional C bass with the C chord, then I have to make C the lowest note of my chord. Now I've just got C in the screen. back to the other one, it now says C over G. If I wanted an F chord but on a C bass, then I need to play my F chord with a C as the lowest note. Now, this of course means you need or may need to learn some different inversions of chords if you don't already know them. But honestly, it's worth it. And how does this help us with a whiter shade of pale? Well, if I do it without the style for a second, our first bar says it starts C on a C bass, so we start there. But then I want C on a B bass. So let's add the B. You heard the bass note drop then to A minor on an A, then A minor on a G. Now F on an E, D, and D on a C. That was D minor actually, but yeah, I just said D because I'm trying to concentrate on three things at once. Now we're starting to hear that descending bass line. Let's put our style back on and just play the left hand in isolation. This is what we would need to do. Now you can hear the proper bass line being played. Put that together with the right hand and it works like this. And we're into the main theme. Actually, that bass line continues throughout the main theme, but hopefully there you've seen how we can more authentically recreate the original bass line by using the bass inversion. It's a really, really useful feature. And I'm going to put another little video up shortly just to show you some of the limitations of automatic chordings and why it's important that you know different inversions of different chords. Hope you enjoyed that. A little bit about using bass inversion.